Welcome back, everybody, to Costume Quest, to another fun time of trick-or-treating.
You sound so happy to trick or treat.
Yeah. I'm like kind of pooped. Not really. There's something about talking with people like back to back that it's exhausting.
Oh, we have to fight this thing?
Oh.
What do you mean back to back, though?
Well, because so for 2 hours, I can do interviews or open phones, and usually it's talking to people coming in, or me talking, and I think I get like 7 or 10 minutes in between each one, which seems like a lot. However, those minutes go by when I have to do other stuff like posting, or I have to get ready for the next session. Oh, my mistake, I burped. But it really can be a little tiring to talk
Sounds like it.
Well, because, like, physically it's fine. But I think it's one of those things that people, like, I have a lot of respect for manual labor. Like, I really do. Because my dad does manual labor, so does my mom. And, you know, it can be really tiring, especially after years on your body.
He's got gloves on.
But...
Oh, sorry. I just noticed he's got gloves on. Look at his gloves.
Oh, that's cute. But I find that mental exhaustion... See, you can ice your muscles.
That is true.
But you can't...
That is a thing you can do.
I mean, you can ice your head too. But in terms of, like, thinking, you can't really get a break. If that makes sense. Because when you get home, then you have things to do. You have to...
Like
yeah, so you're still thinking. You're still using your brain. You don't really... like stop using it just because you get home and you're out of work. Whereas I think manual labor, you know, go home, you don't have to work out your muscles anymore. You're just like, you take your beer, you sit down, you eat, you relax, and there you go.
Or in the instance of us, cider.
Yeah, cider's really good, but man, it sounds like me complaining like first world problems. This really is first world problems. Like, now I feel entitled and privileged. I take back. No, well, hold on. I hold to somewhat I say, but I'm self-aware. Don't worry, I'm self-aware. I'm very grateful because it is a privilege, the position I have, and sometimes I feel really guilty. And I know I've seen a lot of people do takes on it about, you know, the guilt. I think there's a name for it, but it's really specific to first generation immigrant kids and second generation, because, you know, your parents, they're still working at the same jobs, but you still got the education, you have the opportunities, you get to have all these experiences that they never had, which, you know, that's what they came here for you. Or, you know, they do work so hard so that way you could be where you're at. Right. But, I saw someone verbalize it in such a good way that the guilt is the fact that you get to have all these experiences and they're still working at their same jobs. They're still doing manual labor. And it feels kind of snooty, like pretentious in a way. Because... you know, it's getting kind of deep.
It is.
Well, because, like, I'm not the only one. There's, like, a sense of guilt. Like, if your parents didn't come from, like, a background of, like, school or knowledge or, like, academia, or even if they did, sometimes at least here in the U.S., they don't recognize that degree, which is stupid. Because there are a lot of people that from Mexico that would come here and their lives are actually not as great because they've had to do manual labor jobs because the U.S. doesn't recognize their degrees or the ones that they've gotten. And it's pretty dumb. It's ridiculous because it's like, what?
Do you think they should recognize their degrees then?
Well, if they recognize the degrees of people from European countries, why wouldn't they recognize the degrees of others just because they seem more below? And I know people would argue like, oh, the education is different or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, then by that logic, European nations shouldn't be valuing our degrees in the U.S.
I don't know which
just saying
would.
But, you know, it's just interesting how sometimes depending your degree, they won't value it or recognize it. But back to my point though, there's a sense of like snootiness or like this sense of like pretentious or entitlement, I think. And that might just be me. But I felt kind of guilty that I get like during college that, and when I graduated, I felt happy, but I felt like,
Is this your TED talk?
like guilty because I get to have all these experiences. I got to go to college. I get to work in an office job. I don't have to do manual labor, and I get to meet all these people, and I get to network and build myself up. And my parents didn't have that opportunity. And you know, right now they're still working at their regular jobs that they did since I was a kid. And also, like, another thing is, like, I feel kind of snooty, too. Like, when I see other, like, Hispanic or Latino people working, like...
Labor-intensive
like,
jobs.
labor-intensive jobs. And, like, I'm not doing that or anything. And I feel like, oh... I don't know. It feels like like, unintentionally, like...
We some thirsty bitches.
Like I'm saying, oh, I'm better than you, but I'm not. I'm not better than you. Like, I'm not saying that. That's what it feels like. The impression. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know.
Like when you go through the drive-through.
And you see somebody you recognize.
Yeah, or somebody like obviously English is not their first language.
Uh-huh.
And you're ordering and, you know, you're going about your day, but it feels weird. Mostly because, and I think that's exclusive, that experiences like those of like the guilt or feeling pretentious for having these experiences that your parents worked hard for you to have. Mm-hmm. I think this is only like secluded to around in the US. Because in Mexico, I would assume that's the norm. Like, everyone just doing jobs, whatever. Whereas in the US, like, you kind of already know who works the jobs and why, if that makes sense.
Oh, we need a wizard thing. Sorry, I got distracted.
That doesn't... Oh, my God. I'm like, withered. No, but you know what I mean? Like, with your parents, you know?
Yeah, kind of.
Like, they worked hard for you to have at least the opportunities. And you're doing pretty well off, wouldn't you say?
I think so. Yeah.
Hey, you're not...
I don't know. It's hard to say because, like, I had the chance to go to, like, college or whatever, but I really didn't take it. I guess just because of, like... Even though you come from a house like that, money is still an issue.
Yeah. Well, you just gotta shoot your shot, I think. There's nothing...
Yeah, my ass itches.
What? There's nothing wrong, I don't think. Going back. No, but like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either, not taking that opportunity. Because money is a big concern. Like, that is a big leap. And not everyone can take that risk.
That's true.
Because, you know, whatever they're going into, or maybe their family situation, like, it's just not feasible. And that's okay. Like, even though your parents came here, you shouldn't feel... I know people feel guilty about that, like not using the opportunities to their fullest. I know I feel like that sometimes. And that's usually like when it comes to the internet or like the things I could learn.
Mm-hmm. I always forget that, like, there's schools you can go online on the internet
for free. You can learn for free.
Education Connection.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Just ruining like my moments right now. My philosophical learnings. But my main point being is that I feel guilt for having the opportunities I have. Because
your parents didn't have the same?
Yeah, and you know, they're still doing the same jobs they've always have. Meanwhile, I get to enjoy what I'm doing.
The fruits of their labor.
Yeah, the fruits of
one
their
would
labor.
put.
Like like I'm doing the fruits of their labor, but it feels like I feel guilt because I didn't add the water. I didn't tend to the soil.
You didn't give the fruit any nutrition.
Yeah, exactly. That's like a great way of putting it. So we might have to
Yeah, well, give us. Let me beat these
wrap
real quick.
this up.
Let me
But yeah, if any of you ever feel like guilt, and then you don't have to come from an immigrant background, but if your parents like worked really hard
There we go.
on what you were doing in life, or like that your parents worked really hard for you to be where you are right now, it's okay to feel like guilt, but still be grateful and don't beat yourself down,
Connection.
because beating yourself down isn't going to get you anywhere.
Okay, we can end it here.
All right, cool. Thanks
Good.
for joining us.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.